This is a Select Board meeting of Monday, November 4th, 2024. We are in the Town Hall Select Board Chamber, and the time is now 6:30 PM. I'd like to bring this meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open the Select Board meeting for business, November 4th, 2024.
Excellent. I'd also like to remind everyone that MCM is here taping this meeting, and we appreciate their efforts every time they're here, so thank you for that. I'd like to ask you to join me with a Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So as many of you know, we have a public comment portion of our meeting, so I checked it before we opened the meeting, and there was no names on that public comment. So this evening, we will get right to it.
One less
Alrighty?
item we have to worry about, right?
Exactly. So I would like to just start with some brief comments in regard to the chair comments, and get started with a little bit of a, kind of like an info session, I guess. So we all know that the opiate crisis is a critical part of our country, the globe, really. So we also have had the opportunity to be part of some settlements and the state itself. And we had, as you recall, in our town meeting, we had a article, so that we had, I believe it was, just a second here, let me double check. It was a special town meeting for April, Michael?
Yes.
I can't remember, but yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
for the special funds?
Yeah.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes. So, anyway, so we have established a group that is intently involved with working with this fund, and we have been meeting, I believe we've had 3 meetings at this point.
That is correct.
And I happen to be the chair of it, and Phil Tavares is the vice chair, and Mary Price, I believe, is the clerk. So we have been working really hard on trying to establish some guidelines to, obviously, there are parameters that we have to meet to disperse the funds, right? So we thought that after a lot of conversation that we would, and Michael's been very helpful in this process as well, and how to best go about getting the input of our community, so it wasn't just us, so that we would have the ability to get some numbers together on different aspects of the importance of what we're trying to accomplish. And so we have a survey out. The survey's available, and there's several different mediums for that. It's all electronic. So that went out last Thursday, Friday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. And we expect hopefully to get, the original hope was 300 to 500 responses. We'll see how that goes. And the deadline is, I believe, November 22nd, correct?
That is
Correct me if
correct,
I'm
Madam
wrong.
Chair.
And so I just wanted to share that with everybody, and it's probably 7 minutes or so. Encourage folks to just go on and do the best that they can with getting their opinions out there, so that we can have that data as we create a path for working through these and getting the applications in and getting funds to those that need it. So I appreciate that opportunity to say and share what we're doing there, and that's it. So let's get right to it. So this evening, on top of that, we have a motion here that I would like to ask the board, and that is our action number 9, which is, just a second. which is a discussion and vote on host community agreement for Frozen 4. I'd like to just get that out of the way and ask this board if they would vote to table that item. So I will read what it is. The board moves to table until the November 18th, 2024 Select Board meeting to allow for additional time to review the new host community agreement for Frozen 4 Corporation located at 985 Plain Street, Marshfield. I'd like to ask for a second.
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to postpone action on this item until November 18th.
Excellent. So at this point, I'd like to ask our town administrator for his report.
Great, thank you, Madam Chair. I had my weekly call into WATD regarding current town events and review of the Select Board agenda. Participated in a meeting with Sean Strobel, Sean Patterson from our DPW, and DPW staff regarding funding for the Plymouth Ave pump station. People that go up and down Plymouth Ave, they see all the work going on at the pump station. It's being completely remodeled with new pumps, et cetera, so to better serve the community. Hosted a meeting with Sean Strobel, our treasurer, and Meg LeMay, our town accountant, regarding free cash, FY24 closeout. We're getting close to having that closed out. Free cash certification shortly, FY25 budget to date, and at the same time that all of that's going on, we're working on the FY26 budget with the goal to roll that out in December and January to the advisory board. Been working on finishing department head reviews with Danielle Kerrigan, our HR director. Participated in a Zoom meeting with the Coastal Zone Management regarding the town's recent grant for additional beach nourishment on Green Harbor. We got a grant in the amount of $1,998,885 with the town match requirement of $223,760. I've been working with our state delegation and the Joint Committee on Consumer Protection and Professional Licensure regarding our liquor legislation to add the 3 pouring and 3 package store licenses, which is House Bill 4025, and we are very close with that coming out of committee and getting through the House and through the Senate and onto the governor's desk before the end of the legislative session. I've also been working with our state delegation to get our charter language approved at the state level regarding the name change from Board of Selectmen to Select Board. This has been an ongoing effort, but I've been guaranteed that that will also be done before the end of the legislative cycle. I continue to host weekly budgetary meetings with Sean Patterson, our DPW superintendent, his staff, with Sean Strobel, our treasurer, and Meg LeMay, our town accountant. Participated in the Opiate Fund Committee meeting. Committee finalized their survey to send out to gather information on several topics relating to the opiate issue to help provide a foundation to establish where and what type of assistance is needed from the committee financially and from an education standpoint. The deadline to respond to the survey is November 22nd. Survey was launched on October 23rd with the following locations. You can pick up the survey and fill it out online on the town website, town Facebook, the Senior Center, Ventress Library, Marshfield Fax, JPH Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, Road to Responsibility, Town Hall Tidbits, Marshfield Schools, and of course it's on our opiate page. Participated in a meeting with the town council, Bob Galvin, Sean Patterson, Mark McDonald regarding an issue at a private cemetery, Plainville Cemetery in Marshfield. Participated in a meeting regarding the kickoff planning meeting for the Veterans Park project with the various stakeholders, the veterans, state agencies involved, North-South River Watershed Association, DPW, and others, Conservation Commission. The groundbreaking is scheduled for November 13th at 11 a.m. Invitations to go out shortly. Hosted a meeting with Ned Banks, Chair of the Recreational Trails Committee, regarding easements at Red Gold Farm and other places around town. Attended the Senior Center Volunteer Luncheon, where they recognized many volunteers that contributed so many hours of time to assist Carroll Hamilton with so many programs to benefit our senior residents, from health, recreation, arts, clinics, Meals on Wheels, doctor appointments, and rides to doctor appointments. Those volunteer hours calculated out to a contribution of over $500,000, so pretty substantial. hosted a meeting with Fred Russell, our facility director, to review a number of ongoing projects in our school and town government, including ADA ramps at the schools, bathrooms and locker rooms for the men and women at the fire headquarters, new doors at Town Hall, blacksmith shop renovation, GAR Hall renovation, Daniel Webster House repairs, and getting our buildings prepared for the winter. Also had a meeting with Fred Russell, our facility director, Matt Parent, our energy consultant, regarding the 5 school roof projects and using net present value to fund the repairs to allow for installation of EVs. Participated in a site visit to the Winslow House barn with facilities to check on the Concord coach with the Historic Commission. Just had the Concord coach clean. Concord coach will need to be stored in a climate-controlled building that allows residents and tourists to see this remarkable vehicle, which I was told that it's only one of 8 left in the country, and this dates back to like 1850, this particular one. One of the possible sites would be Daniel Webster Garage or Barn. Participated in the MMA's Municipal Regional Policy Committee as a voting member to review the MMA's legislative package, which includes following legislative matters: permanent options for remote meetings, local option to increase civil penalties, shared services, legal notices, procurement parity, payment of veteran services, extending the rights of first refusal timeline, municipal control of liquor licenses, and alternative delivery of infrastructure projects for the upcoming legislative session that runs from 2025 to 2027, including the resolution that will be voted at the conference in January, supporting the modernization and efficiency of local government. Participated in a conference call with Tom Hickey, the superintendent of the South Shore Regional Technical Vocational High School, regarding our special town meeting and the article that needs to be voted to change the operational funding from a rolling 3-year average to a rolling 4-year average. We had a brief discussion of the January 25th, 2025 special election to support the funding and construction of the new building, which just was awarded support from the MSBA, Mass School Building Assistance. Discussion with Carolyn Hamilton to review age-friendly survey done by UMass. The survey showed that many of our seniors want to be involved in town activities. They're concerned about jobs, staying in their home, driving, food shop and doctor's appointments, greater activities, and healthcare in general. Participated in the MSBA Zoom call regarding the Martinson Roof project being accepted, and on the same Zoom was the acceptance and award for the South Shore Regional Vocational Technical School. Toured the Winslow Ave Extension with Sean Patterson, our DPW superintendent, to view an issue. We have a resident with their fence on town land, working with town council to get the fence moved back onto the person's property to allow sufficient room for DPW equipment to repair this pathway and improve accessibility over the winter months and have it ready for the spring. Attended Doreen Sampson's retirement party at the fire headquarters. Doreen's retiring after several years as the payroll clerk and a number of years of payroll clerk for the fire department, and also a number of years of service in town government, including the schools and in the treasurer's office. Also attended the Senior Center Craft Fair on Saturday. There were hundreds of people attending. I hope that it was very successful for the Council on Aging boosters. And if I may, Madam Chair, just 2 quick announcements. I wanted the board and members to know that the Marshfield Fire Department, people see a lot with the fires going on, the red flag, the fire department and the acting chief issued the warning. But the fire department sent 3 personnel as part of the task force 2D. That's the task force that we sit in, to Middleton. We sent 1 lieutenant, 2 firefighters. We sent our forest truck and the ATV with 2 pumps for 8 hours of helping them fight the fires. And I also want to remind folks about the Veterans Day ceremony and parade, which will kick off from Library Plaza at 10:30, and it will be stopping at the town green this year, not Veterans Park. There'll be signs going up around town. The veterans agents are pulling them up. But the ceremony will kick off right at 11 o'clock, as Veterans Day is the 11th month, the 11th day, and the 11th hour. So that is my report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Okay, this evening we have an appointment that is scheduled for 6:35. Do we have a representative here from RBSBW?
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Upton for the applicant.
Hello, Andrew. How are you this evening?
I'm good. Thanks for letting me zoom into Marshfield.
Yes, well, welcome. I'm going to, just if you would just give me a second, I'm going to read this into the record. Glasses on the table, not on the head. Okay, this is a notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws as amended that there will be a public hearing on Monday, November 4th, 2024 at 6:35 PM in the Select Board Chamber at Marshfield Town Hall, 870 Moraine Street, Marshfield, 02050, on the applications from RBSBW Inc., DBA Roach Brothers Supermarkets for, 1, a change of ownership interest.
Recording in progress.
Excuse me? Could you please?
Sorry, I
Would
hit
you
it by
please
mistake.
exit or just figure it out?
Turned it off.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry.
I feel like I need to read this again. Am I echoing still? Okay, thank you. I am going to repeat this due to the interruption. Notice is hereby given under Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws as amended that there will be a public hearing on Monday, November 4th, 2024 at 6:35 PM in the Select Board Chamber at Marshfield Town Hall, 870 Moraine Street, Marshfield 02050, on the applications from RBSBW Inc., DBA Roach Brothers Supermarkets for, 1, a change of ownership interest, comma, change of stock interest, and change of corporate structure, and 2, change of beneficial interest. Premises located at 605 Plain Street, Marshfield, Massachusetts, 02050. The applications associated with the proposed changes may be viewed by appointment at the Select Board office. Marshfield Licensing Authority, Select Board, Lynn Fiddler, Steve Darcy, and Eric Kelly. So I've read this into the record, sir. Would you like to share with the board and the public what your reasons for being in front of us today are?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. These are two applications. The first one is for a corporate change at Roach Brothers where they're adding a tax-advantaged holding company into their existing structure. And then when they do that, the second one is an application to transfer 51% of the company to a new owner. So these two actions have been pre-approved by the ABCC. First one is a technical change in the structure of Roach Brothers. The second one is the transfer of 51% from a certain number of the Roach Brothers and their family to the Bizzuto Company, with the 49% remaining with the Roach Brothers, their children, and their trusts. There are no changes whatsoever anticipated for the operations at this store. This is happening at 9 different stores. That's why this was a pre-approved file at the Mass ABCC. So that's the overview. Glad to get into more detail or answer any more questions if you have them.
Okay, so there was a business trust transferring over to an LLC, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The company itself, Roach Brothers Midco LLC, is now 100% ownership. And I'm just going to go down very quickly. So this indicates officer stock and ownership as you just described. Disclosure of license disciplinary action, no. There's a corporate reorganization, which I've looked at in this. There's also a Commissioner of Revenue certifies that Roach Brothers is in compliance with its tax obligations, and as you said, this has been pre-approved. Department Unemployment Assistance, and then there's a transaction summary, as you just described. 48.01 will be transferred to Michael A. Bizzuto, and 3% to the Bizzuto's Employee Profit Sharing and Stock Ownership Trust. Would you like to add anything to that?
Well, I can give you some minor background. I mean, there are a number of Roach Brothers supermarkets in Massachusetts, as I'm sure you know. They're all subject to this transaction. The reason we're here is because this is one of the 9 that has a liquor license and
Yes.
requires this filing.
Yes.
Pre-approved by the ABCC. And from what I gather, some members of the Roach family are looking to move on from their ownership. Some members are looking to stay, and they are bringing on a partner with whom they have worked for many years, who's experienced in the supermarket business. And everyone seems happy about this transaction and happy about the way Roach Brothers operates. So they really anticipate no changes on the store level.
Okay. So as the town branch here, I know that you understand that that's really critical to the way we like to know that our enterprises and establishments have a clear path and they have the right folks at the helm. So I am sure that that has been considered. And before I forward this over, I'd just like to ask our town administrator if he has anything else to add to this.
I think, Madam Chair, you went through the package, and as the attorney stated, Attorney Andrew Upton, everything's in order, all the necessary paperwork is there, so the board will be voting on 2 motions after there's questions, and then if there's any questions from the public as a public hearing.
Yes. Any questions, Steve?
No, the Roach family's been great to the town over the years and very generous with our youth as well. We've done a few of these over the years, and everything looks to be in order, so I don't have any questions.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, when I was going through the documents, there was some things I came across that I relayed to Attorney Galvin on, and I got some answers on it, but there was some documents that didn't have a signature on them. I was told that they won't be signed until the transfer is complete, I guess you could say. Could you tell me what documents won't be signed until the transfer is complete?
I believe those are the share purchase agreement and the promissory note. When the transaction won't close until all 9 approvals go through the town and the ABCC, and then the money is funded and the corporate lawyers do their thing to close the deal, and that's where the signing will occur.
So, is the entity vote part of that?
No, the entity vote is signed. I think you had an early version that was not signed, but the one approved by the ABCC, they are all signed, and we forwarded to Attorney Galvin the executed copies for your records earlier today.
All right, so you forwarded all the signed documents today?
Yes.
All right, I don't think I got those, so, all right, that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay,
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes,
just to
please.
answer Mr. Kelly, I sent an email out to everyone at 1:42 PM with those documents that were signed.
All right, thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
okay. I would like to make a motion here. The board moves to approve the change of name of its parent company.
Madam Chair, if you-
Yes.
it's a public hearing, so after,
Oh,
right, you have
correct.
to see if there's anyone who wants to ask.
Is there anyone here in the room that would like to make a comment on this appointment? Is there anyone on Zoom? Please raise your hand if you would like to make a comment. Okay, there being none, I will move forward on the first of the motion. The first motion is the board moves to approve the change of name of its parent company from Roach Brothers Supermarket Company to Roach Brothers Midco LLC. Roach Brothers Midco LLC has no officers and is member managed by Roach Brothers Holdco Incorporated. Roach Brothers Holdco has been added as the parent company of Roach Brothers Midco LLC and the grandparent company of the licensee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
Okay. The second motion is in reference to the stock interests and the transferring from to the 48.01 and 3% and the Bizzuto's employee profit sharing and stock ownership trust. So were there any questions or comments in the room in relationship to that part of this appointment? Okay, there being none, is there anybody on Zoom that would like to have a moment to speak on this particular item? Okay, there being none, I'd like to make the motion that the board moves to approve the change of ownership interest and change of stock interest requested by RBSBW, Incorporated, to change beneficial interest at level 4 of the structure chart. 48.01% will be transferred to Michael A. Bizzuto, and 3% to the Bizzuto's employees' profit sharing and stock ownership trust. These shares will be transferred from other entities currently situated at level 4. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the ownership interest change of stock.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move into our action items. Okay. We're going to start off with action item number 1, which is a discussion and vote to open and close special town meeting warrant to add items related to the Martinson School roof project approved by the MSBA at their October 30th, 2024 meeting. Michael, will you share with the board what is going on here?
Yes. So this is before the board. The only way to get something on the warrant, as folks know, the warrant closed. And the select board will need to close on Friday, October 25th. So the select board will need to open the warrant. On the 30th of October, the Martinson School roof project was invited to participate in the MSBA's accelerated repair project. So in order for that to move forward, two things we have to do. That is, we have to appropriate money for the feasibility and schematic design study, and we also have to have funds set aside for an owner's project manager. Under Mass General Laws, Chapter 149, any project over $1.5 million has to have an owner project manager, no different than we did for the police, for the DPW, and for the senior center projects. So this is before the board tonight. First, to open the warrant. Then second action would be to add this article and then to close the warrant.
So would I close the warrant following item number 2?
Following putting in the item, correct.
Okay, all right. So do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Eric, do you have any questions or comments?
I do, just to make sure I'm following the process right here. So are we opening it for both? Are we discussing action items 1 and 2 together on this?
We're, from my standpoint, we are going to open the warrant.
Yeah, yes.
Step number 1. We are going to address action item number 2, and then we will close the warrant.
Okay, so 1 and 2 are going to be together when we have the discussion.
Well, they're
Yeah.
independent, but
Yeah,
they
that's
have to-
right,
they
right.
have to be done separately.
Okay.
Did I have a correct
Yes,
analysis?
because that is correct, because if the warrant, if the board doesn't vote to open the warrant, number 2 is moot.
Okay. The board, are you all set?
Yeah, I'm
Is that
good.
okay?
I just wanted to get that
Okay,
clarified.
okay, thank you. The board moves to open the special town meeting warrant to add items related to the Martinson School Roof Project approved by the MSBA at their October 30th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to open the warrant for the special town meeting that closed on Friday, October 25th.
Okay, thank you. So action number 2 is a discussion and vote to add schematic design funding for the Martinson School Roof Project approved by the MSBA and owner's project manager, which is OPM, an acronym again, funding for Martinson School Roof projects. Okay. So this article, we don't know the number yet, but this is, will the town vote to raise and appropriate, comma, transfer from available funds, comma, or borrow pursuant to any applicable statute, the sum of $1,050,000 for the purposes of funding a feasibility and schematic design study for the potential roof replacement project at the Martinson Elementary School under the Accelerated Repair Program, that's the acronym ARP, of the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA, and for which the town may be eligible for a school construction grant from the MSBA, said amount to be expended at the discretion of the school committee. The MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement, discretionary program based on need as determined by the MSBA. And any study costs the town incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received from the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the town. Any grant that the town may receive from the MSBA for the study shall be as set forth in the project funding agreement that may be executed between the town and the MSBA or take any other action relative thereto. All righty. So, Michael, would you share with the board the, other than what we
Yes,
just read? I mean,
absolutely, Madam Chair, sure.
it's- Yeah.
So just to answer some questions for the
Yes.
board, I think the first question, where did the $1,050,000 come from? The project's estimated at about $7 million. The standard for the schematic design and study and feasibility and owner project manager is 15% of cost, which comes out to $1,050,000. That's not a number that we come up with. That was a number that the schools working with the MSBA came up with. They sent that to me. We talked to Bob. We quickly had to put this together. We had to have bond counsel with Locke and Lord approve it. It was maybe just a few hours ago that they approved the final language. We had the general gist of it, and that's the money now. We're going to have to do a ban. We'll go out and do short-term borrowing, do a ban. Any money that's left over from the schematic design just rolls into the main project because the school roof, as I mentioned, is estimated to be about $7 million. Won't have a final price till the schematic design is done. That's one of the reasons you do it, and they look at, the processes and how the project will be done.
Okay, thank you. Can you share with the board and the public where we stand in, best case scenario as far as scheduling
Scheduling,
for getting this under, so we have the feasibility, we have
so we
the
have
design.
90 days. So
Go-
the MSBA has like 90 days to it's an accelerated program, so we're moving very quickly. Want to get everything ready so they can go back to spring special or annual to get funding for the project, less the amount of money that they give us.
So the accelerated repair program itself
That is correct.
is indicative that there's something seriously that we need to get
There
to.
is, yeah, so there's a problem with the roof, the timbers and things like that. Not an engineer, I won't get too far in, but it's something about the inflection of the roof, so
Okay.
there'll be repairs, not just to the coating of the roof to protect it from water, but also structural details also.
Okay. Well, we'll be getting into this as we move forward.
That is correct.
So-
This is right
This is
now,
just
this is just to begin the accelerated, is to do the schematic design. And because it's a project that's going to cost over 1.5 million, you have to have the owner project manager because they prepare all the bid documents, et cetera, on behalf of the town's interest.
Okay, all right, thank you. Because we're all interested in the roofs, we all have been watching that. Anything you'd like to add?
Yes, please. Michael, for folks who may not know, could you explain the role and function and purpose of the MSBA?
MSBA was put together by the legislature to help local municipalities with major school-related funded projects. They have this accelerated project, which they put together a few years ago. Originally, they started out as just building new schools, working with cities and towns to prepare a study, do all the due diligence to find out when a school comes forward and they request assistance from the MSBA, they want to replace a school. Oh, it's not just, we don't like the way that school looks, so we want a new school. Can we tear it down, or will you help us fund it? No. They work with the city and town leaders to begin the process to take a critical analysis of that building. What are the costs? What are the costs to repair in place, move the kids, or put modular classrooms out there versus tearing it down and building from scratch? What does the population expansion look like? How big should the school be? So they have professionals. They do this every single day. They've really kept the cost down on design. Marshfield was a benefactor of that because, at one time you could pretty much design your own school and spend millions and millions of dollars on a design. I know when Marshfield was done, there was like 5 versions you could choose from. It's a little different on what we're going into now for our Martinson roof project because that's a repair. But when we did the high school, the town had the option of choosing 5 different versions. And the great thing about that is they're already designed, and it's just, here's the plans, we'll give it to you, and they have different versions based on the size of the school. Like I said, this is different. We're gonna repair in place. The biggest challenges for this type of project, once town approves funding, is really getting the work done. A lot of the work has to be done in the summer months. Will they be ready to go, and can they get it done in one summer schedule, things like that? Those are some of the challenges.
Thank you.
Can I just, before I head over to Eric, so you started off by, obviously, these are estimates. So if we're looking at a $7 million roof, and we have this $1,050,000 request here for appropriation, the balance of that is still a hefty amount. So when we get down the road towards that, we're looking at probably in the springtime.
Right, we'd have to do a
Yeah.
debt exclusion. This would all be rolled into, all these costs would be rolled into the debt
Yeah,
exclusion.
exactly. Okay, thank you. That's how I understood it. Anything you'd like to add?
We're not, so as a board ourselves, if we chose to, can we make changes to the language in this now, or is this have to wait for town meeting in regards to that?
This language can't be changed, period. This has to meet the state law. This is written by a special counsel, bond counsel at Lork and Lord. That's their expertise. They write the language.
So the language can't be changed, not even at town meeting? I have concerns with some of the language in here. All right, that's all I have.
Okay. So we are moving on to action item number 2 and looking for a second. The board moves to add an article to the warrant for the December 16th, 2024 special town meeting that closed on Friday, October 25th, 2024, to include the feasibility and schematic design funding and funding for the owner's project manager, OPM, in the amount of $1,050,000 for the Martinson School Roof Project approved by the MSBA on October 30th, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Hey.
Motion carries 2-1.
Okay. I'd like to follow that up with closing the special town meeting warrant. The board moves to close the special town meeting warrant related to the Martinson School roof project. Is that correct, Michael? Or I
The
just
board
close
just
it?
closes the warrant, recloses the warrant from October 25th.
Okay. So the board closes the warrant for October 25th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fiddler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to close the warrant.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. We are in action number 3, and that is a discussion and vote to award contract to SAFE Boat International for the purchase of SAFE boat and associated equipment not to exceed $804,000, Marshfield Police Department. This is a combination item, although that we're going to take them on separately, so we'll start with that. Yes. How are you this evening?
Thank you for your time.
Welcome. Introduce yourself for the record.
Mike DeMeo, Harbor-Master.
All righty. So, I'm gonna just, if you just give me a second here. So this is an executive action request from Marshfield Select Board. And this is, the title of this is an award contract to Safe Boats International, which is a 33-foot law enforcement rescue patrol boat. And the contract is, we don't have the purchase order yet, but the contract is not to exceed $804,000. And Chief Tavares is the individual invited and the proponent to this present. Background information that's been submitted is, this is a contract for the purchase of a 33-foot safe boat via grant award from FEMA's Port Security Grant Program. Approved on September 19th, 2024, Department of Homeland Security Port Security Grant Program. Award EMW 2024 PU 05012 in the amount of $603,000. The total award requires a 25% match from the town of Marshfield, which is $201,000. These funds will be furnished by way of surplus of the current 2013 Harbor Master vessel, also referred to as Unit 1. This boat is procured through the GSA contract 47QSWA 18D005J. Action sought is an affirmative vote to award contract to Safe Boats International for the purchase of the 33-foot safe boat and associated equipment not to exceed $804,000. So that is part of our packet here. If you'd like to expand, I know this was,
Yeah, so just one small typo on the vessel size. It's actually going to be a 35-foot boat, not 33.
Okay.
Which is 4 feet bigger than our current boat. Our boat now is a 31-footer. But if I can just get into the quick history of
please.
where we were and where we're at.
Yep.
So the Police Harbor Master Department has been diligently seeking a myriad of grants over the years to offset town funds. The FEMA Port Security Grant is just one of the many opportunities that we have been successful at. So dating back to 2012, the town was successful in a federal match for port security for $290,006. The town matched that vessel out of waterways funds of $96,668 for a total purchase price of $386,674 for the Unit 1 vessel and trailer. In 2019, we were successful again in the amount of $347,559, town match of $115,853 for a total project of $463,412. And that purchased our center console boat, the 27-footer, trailer, sonar equipment, and rad nuke equipment that we have in operation. In 2020, we were successful again, $52,707 from the federal side, town match of $17,569, which came out of waterways, total project cost $70,276, and that was for the 2 new outboard engines that are currently on the 31-foot safe boat. This year, we were very successful. Federal match, $603,000, which was the highest in the port this year. The town required match is $201 even for a project and contract cost of $804, not to exceed $804. and that will replace our oldest boat, which is the 2012, 2013 safe boat. If you add all that up, you can do it many different ways under this program, and there are many grants that we still other get other processes. 1,293,272, or if you break it down by year since 2012, the town's been very successful in getting 107 a year since 2012. So all in with the 201, the town match for all in, not including the surplus coming back off this boat, is 431,9066, which is 25% of the 1.293 million for the equipment that we have. So grants are very competitive. I'm hitting like 33% every couple of years out of the 12 years, which is pretty good. But if you go through the numbers, and the competition is very hard because you're competing with all the police and fire in the port, Boston State Police, and you're also competing with the mass ports and the private businesses as well, that their match is 50%, not 25%. So we've been very successful, but a lot of work. I don't get any extra money for it. Like I said, I took over in 2007. I reduced taxpayer costs, and that's what I'm doing.
So is there a cost to the taxpayers for this boat?
So currently, we're working with FEMA. If you read the CFR on FEMA equipment prior to 2014, if you read the language that said we can use the proceeds for a new vessel or equipment. So we're working on to get the commitment from FEMA and what they want back. Obviously, the engines are 4 years old, so personally, I think we have to give them back to $52,707, but that's what we're working through. The boat is worth probably more than we paid for it now. The town did kick a lot of money into this boat as well. We just did electronics last year for $47,000. That was funded out of free cash, so that increases the value of the boat as well. Obviously, the boats have almost doubled since 2012, newer technology, safer, bigger glass windows, things like that, and construction costs, obviously, but not looking to do much different than what we have. It's actually a little larger boat, more capabilities. We can handle and hold all our rad nuke equipment. The ROV can be held on board. It's going to have a built-in generator. I'm not buying things like refrigerators and AC for the boat. We're getting equipment that we're using 80% of the time, so we don't need like all the fancy bells and whistles. It's a patrol workboat that aimed to save people's lives and patrol the coast.
Okay,
So
all right. Well, obviously, I commend you on the amount of work it's taken to
Yep.
get that. And the actual project itself will be safety of our harbors and not in our surrounding communities as well, so.
and this is it's about a year build. It's 10, 12 months to build it, design it. The boat's the boat, but as far as the electronics layouts and the equipment, that's something I get to spec out. Similar to the boats that we have currently, like it's going to have the same kind of electronics packages, things like that. So if you hop on one boat, you're very familiar with the next boat with the infrared and things like that, radar, things like that.
So can I just, the Homeland Security,
Yep.
this is the grant, so have we had any other Homeland Security grants in relationship to the harbors that you're aware of?
Not under this program, no.
Not under this program, okay.
Under under DOJ programs, SRO program, we've got money through that federally, but for port security, this is pretty much,
It's pretty impressive, this
yeah,
particular.
it gets harder and harder every year.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's years where I had a drought 3 or 4 years, right? And this year we hit pay dirt, so we got lucky this year. But
Yeah,
that's, based on really what we're doing for the Port of Boston. It's not really Port of Boston, it's really from, the Port of Boston is
River,
really from
right.
like the New Hampshire border to Plymouth.
yeah,
And we kind of anchor at the southern AOR. Obviously, the Coast Guard cutbacks are going on with their stations are closing, and, they pushing the onus onto local harbor masters, police, marines to do their job. Yes and no, but the line is, if one of our members or our commercial guys are out there 10 miles, we're probably going to get there first.
right,
We've done it. We've had plenty of rescues, documented rescues on YouTube. Situate, we had a clam boat flip over 2 years ago. We were there for that, first on scene. So, there's real life incidents where these boats are saving people's lives. It's not just port security, it's also search and rescue.
right.
So,
And every second counts when you're
Every
treading
second
water,
yeah.
so, I think.
The water's pretty cold, so
Yeah, exactly.
if you want to jump in the water, it'll last for an hour or 10 minutes, then, I guess you got to pick what you want to do, but we're
Yeah.
probably going to get there first.
Yeah, well, So we had 2 engines on the 35-foot, what is it, did you say?
2 engines on the 31, this has 3 engines. I went with the engineers because I wanted to have 2 larger engines, but there's
Yeah.
really no benefit cost analysis.
Okay.
When you factor in weight and maintenance and all those things, but the new engines will have technology where we can flush the boat right at the dock. We can
Okay.
flush the salt water out right at the dock and things like that. So they have progressed over the years.
Okay, all right.
And it's a boat this boat will be in the water year round. This boat really doesn't come out. Like the 31 comes out for the Veterans Day Parade and comes out twice for maintenance. And other than that, it's in the water.
Okay.
Yes. So you answered my first question already. My second question is, since you've been the harbor master, how much grant money have you brought into the town? If you had to ballpark it.
I don't want to put a feather in my cap, but I don't really add them all up, but it's probably over $7 million. With the building, grants, dredge grants, seaport grants, it's well over $7 million. And I'm waiting now for a $6.9 million grant, which I was hoping to have tonight, but haven't heard yet. So and that would be for the pier project. That would be instrumental if we can get that money, but I try every year. I write back and rewrite grants and submit them, and if you don't ask, you don't get. But, that's a huge town savings. It's some of those projects are pretty large numbers, so, so I'd rather sit here tonight asking for $201,000 for surplus versus $804,000. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
For
definitely.
a boat that we'll have for the next, 10, 14 years, 13, 14 years,
Yeah. The last boat you got in 2013,
Yeah.
started outfitting in 2012, so that's
Yeah.
a long time with it.
Yeah, we took delivery July 3rd, 2013, so
Yeah.
it was almost about a year built.
Okay,
So, but and we do a good job maintaining our boats with the maintenance of the engines, all that stuff. You have to do that stuff. I mean, your life's on the line when you're out there because there's no one coming for you. So it's just us. Like I said, there's been some good rescues with all the boats, not just the big boats, but the ocean's not getting any calmer. So
Yeah.
a little bigger boat would be probably a little safer. So.
okay. Eric, any comments?
Mike and I had a nice discussion today over it, plus other items, and I'm happy with this. I mean, Mike gave me a tour of the facility and the boats, and
Nice.
and shows that he takes pride in his work. So it's I'm good with it.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So then we will take a motion for number 3, and I will ask for a second. The board moves to award the contract to Safe Boat International for the purchase of a new safe boat and associated equipment not to exceed $804,000. The purchase is being funded via a grant award from FEMA's Port Security Grant Program, approved on September 19th, 2024. Department of Homeland Security Grant Program, EMW-2024-PU05012 in the amount of $603,000. This boat is procured through GSA contract number 47 QSWA18D005J, a 25% match from the town of Marshfield, which is $201,000. These funds will be furnished by way of a surplus of the current 2013 Harbor Master Vessel Unit 1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
So the next question is in regard to the surplus. You might want to wait a second, but I think we're probably fine. Okay. So this is, and Michael, you can share, but Mike DeMeo just explained, our harbor master explained, but this is a motion to request that we surplus this existing boat.
That is correct, Madam Chair, and the reason, the harbor master's here, but the reason you're gonna do that is that Mike will be able to sell this boat, and once the select board declares it surplus, we're not taking it out. He'll have to continue to use this till we get it.
Yep.
But this allows the harbor master to reach out to other municipalities.
Yeah. boat sale.
So this is a boat and trailer as surplus. So this is a discussion and vote on request for permission to declare Harbor Master Unit 1 31-foot safe boat and trailer as surplus.
And that will have to go through the procurement through combis to list
Right.
it. And I'm pretty sure municipalities would have first dibs at it. And that's the part with FEMA now, we're working through them now to see what portion of funds they want back. But like I said, the boat was already appraised for more than we paid for it.
Okay.
And that's due in part, the new engines, the electronics, the new decking on it, and the upkeep. That it's never really been in salt water. It's been on the jet dock for
Yep.
12, 13 years. So all those things really enhance the value of it.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. So, any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Art? Okay. This is a request for a second. The board moves to declare the Harbor Master Unit 1 a 31-foot safe boat and trailer as surplus. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to declare the Unit 1 31 safe boat as surplus.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, time.
Is there anyone in the room that needs to, who do we have here?
Greg is here for the library.
Yep.
Yeah. We scooched ahead on the liaison surveys, so before we go any further, I'm going to just quickly, we had a board discussion on our agenda. I'm just going to go back to the beginning here a little bit before we move on. So this one's done. Okay. So this evening, we had a board discussion on committee liaison surveys as presented and discussed. So I just want to just share with both of you where I stand on the liaison committees that I'm on, and whether or not each of you can do the same. We'll see how that goes. But so I am up to date with Conservation. I'm up to date with Council on Aging, the Housing Trust, the PPI and CRS Committee, Waterways, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Advisory Board, Rick Smith was away on business, so he thought he would get in today to get us his information, but he didn't by the end of the day today. So I'm just going to very briefly share a few of the comments that we had from the different boards that might be of interest. This is just a nice way to just kind of touch base and have it actually, we'll start maybe having a binder presented, and every year annually we'll just add it to it. So one of the questions was issues and challenges, and this is the Conservation Commission. She in the group, I believe, did this, but obviously they've resolved multiple permit applications, some very complex, fairly and equitably, serious commitment of the time and effort, and currently have an excellent group of dedicated commissioners. So we have an agent, Liz and Joe, developed and wrote a vegetative management for Green Harbor, and I anticipate this being instrumental in settling some disputes in that area, and we know that that's an important part of conservation and making sure that people understand what the parameters are and they can be held responsible for it. So there's 3 new commissioners, and they've all completed certification from the Mass Association of Conservation Commissioners, and I anticipate that soon all 7 members will be certified. They're full staffed with 7 commissioners, and they have continued to review and propose revisions to the town bylaws, Chapter 505. So that's that. That's conservation. Council on Aging. I think I mentioned last time that I was able to get to one of their board meetings and really appreciated all of the insight that they gave me. They have some of their accomplishments, I think I'll just mention today, but completing a survey with 463 returns, conducting 5 community focus groups, completing updated vision, mission, and new value statements, and creating an MOU with the Boosters Development Committee in order to work with local businesses. And as Michael described earlier, their volunteer base is pretty impressive, which is up to $500,000 in actual value. And so that's something that this town really, and they're having fun. You know, they're over there doing great work, getting out into the community, and they're like a family over there, so, which is great to see. That's our mission over there, so that's that one. The Housing Trust was offered by Fred Monaco, and developing an action plan with goals and strategies for the next 4 years, and education of town residents, developing the Marshfield Housing Production Plan, and development of 50 new housing units affordable to people earning up to 80% of the area median income. And this trust, I'm one vote on this trust, but they've really been working hard with getting their issues of previous years right on track, and I expect that the next year will also do the same and then some. So we're looking forward to the committee's accomplishments as we go forward. CRSPPI maintained their 15% discount for the town's residents who have an NFIP policy, and I encourage you to look into that if you're a little confused about that. But we believe that we have documented additional CRS activities to increase our total points and possibly increase our class rating, which would increase the flood policy discount to 20% that we take advantage of when you're in the flood zones. So they're on track as well. They'd like us to help promote the value of what this committee provides to the public, and look forward to working with us on that. Waterways, and Bill was here, but he's no longer here. But as you know, the waterways are a critical resource for the town, and the Waterways Commission also successfully negotiated with the DPW to resolve oil disposal issues from the fishing fleet. There's also a couple new members this year that are bringing in a great perspective. Funding to complete the commercial boom and new ladder was added to the December town meeting. Funding for the new boat match was also added. Replace the Damon's Points docks and complete Chapter 91 filing. Working with the USACE, secure any permits outside the town's dredging permits. And the USAC jetty study is still going. These are just highlights of what okay. Zoning Board of Appeals, as we all know, had a pretty busy year. Extensive hearings for the 40B project, as well as a controversial dock issue over the past year. The ZBA has received 58 special permits and 9 variance requests, 9 requests for site plan approval, and 5 appeals, as well as requests for permit modifications and extensions. Their goals is to continue to help the citizens of Marshfield deal with issues created by zoning regulations, some of which are antiquated, as well as problems resulting from overlay districts. Residents need help from the zoning board for problems they have not created. Does your board have a town webpage? And they do. So that's pretty much it, with the exception of, as I said, the advisory board. Steve?
Sure. So the Community Preservation Committee, it's a very interesting board in town because it's really our only appointed board that has its own independent funding source with the Community Preservation Act funds. So some of the challenges that they have are just all the applications they get and different projects that folks apply for, and just the demand for CPC funding can be overwhelming at times, and big dollar amounts as well, so that can be tricky. And then another challenge was just kind of explain to folks that funding source can only be used for affordable housing, historical, open space, and recreation. So just, when you bump into folks in the street, people talk about other things that they would like to see funded because it's a pretty plenished account, but again, it's those 4 boxes are the only things that it can go towards, so just that's a challenge for them. The Airport Commission, they have a pretty cohesive board. Obviously, just the nature of the airport, sometimes federal grants or federal approval and permits for different projects can take a long time, so that's one frustrating thing, but they all get along really well. They work well with South Shore Aviation, so they have a good dynamic and relationship there, and they work well with Town Hall on different projects. And then the Capital Budget Committee, kind of a similar thing, a lot of demands every year, and sometimes you'll see the same project as an application for several years in a row. So one memory I have is there's a department looking for a vehicle purchase, and their complaint was, we've asked for the same vehicle 3 years in a row. And a comment from a board member was, well, yeah, but if we said yes, you wouldn't have gotten 3 more years out of it. So there's that tension between, figuring out what the need is versus what is a want, So that can be challenging at times, and just making sure that they have clear lines of delineation for what qualifies as a capital budget expenditure and what doesn't. So those are the deepest conversations I've had, and just looking forward to connecting with more folks as well.
Okay, thank you.
So, I have it from the library and the energy committee. There's 3 others I handed out, and I have not heard back from them. So, in regards to the energy committee, give a brief description of any issues or challenges your board has resolved over the last year. It can be difficult to get the word out about what we're doing. Some of our initiatives take time. We're working through keeping them moving to do an activity. List some of your committee's accomplishments over the last year. Move these solar projects throughout town forward. Move getting EV charging stations moving forward. Have you any difficulty with quorums? No. Does your board have any anticipated vacancies? Yes. A couple vacancies coming up in 2025. What are your goals for the upcoming year? Install EV charging stations, install solar on landfill, dog park, and DPW, potentially get new roofs on the schools and solar, and install more heat pumps at Furnace Brook Middle School. Does your board have a town webpage? Yes, they do. Is there anything I can do to assist your board in accomplishing its goals? No, hopefully assist spreading the word a bit better in what we're doing. Thank you for your advanced cooperation. Please feel free to include any additional information you'd like me to share with the select board. That's it. Let's see. Then,
Library.
yeah, the library. Library has a pretty good packet here. So Greg Kai is the chairperson, Wallace Coyle, Greg Guimond, Michelle Noonan, vice chairperson, Dana Forsyth, and new member Ann Fogg, and I believe we're going to be appointing a new member, Amanda, tonight to fill the other position. And they said, let's see here, they printed out with the survey here, so a brief description of any issues or challenges your board has resolved over the last year: maintenance issues, carpets, other improvements through capital allocation, groundskeeping. Thank you, volunteers. In the later part of fiscal year 2024, we were able to obtain funding for Sunday library hours. We had this ability and look to build on that same formula for fiscal 2025. Appears to be some staffing matters, some budgetary issues. List some of your committee's accomplishments over the last year: supporting concerts, encouraging kids. Programs included Mad Science back on March 16, 2024. Adding Sunday hours, working with Friends of the Library to supplement library services, funding attendance for the youth services librarian to attend the American Library Association's annual conference, using state aid funds. Expanding the Library of Things, offering video game rentals. Ventures Memorial Library serves a critical community gathering space. It is a cooling center in the summer and a warming center in the winter. Supporting library staff and services. List some of your committee's accomplishments over the last year. Part 2, from the Town Administrator's FY 2025 budget presentation, the library has taken on the task of increasing services by opening on Sunday to allow greater access to the library. during the weekend, including book drop-off, pickup program, public Wi-Fi, and many cultural programs for students and general public. Library rug was replaced during the winter of '23, a great improvement. The town continues to support the library and fund other cultural services. March 2024, today showed gifts, books, and Veterans Library through Read with Jenna program. Have you had any difficult quorums, meetings over the last year? Despite being 2 members down from June to October of this fiscal year, we were able to achieve quorums. Previous year, it was a challenge on several occasions to get a quorum during the COVID era. Our meetings are generally the third Wednesday of each month at 4 p.m. Does your board have any anticipated vacancies? Our board has 2 open vacancies when 2 members of the trustees do not wish to extend their terms. They filled one in September, and when this was written, they had currently 2 candidates they were vying. Like I said, they have picked one that we're going to place in the board tonight. What are some of your goals for the upcoming year? Physical goals, physical space goals. The Board of Library Trustees and the Library Director will collaborate with the Town Facilities Department to assess and address the ongoing maintenance and needs of the library building, ensure a safe and welcoming environment for all. Staffing goals, the trustees will ensure that library patrons are assisted by trained and educated professional librarians whose knowledge of available resources will meet community needs. The trustees will encourage and provide funding for professional growth, advocate for funding to allow library staff to seek professional development opportunities, including webinars and conferences. Fill, restore staffing positions, Sunday hours. What are some of your goals for the upcoming year? Part 2, customer service goals. The trustees will seek additional funding to be used for expanded night and weekend hours to meet community needs. The trustees will collaborate with the library director and town administrator to plan and implement biannual staff training sessions. Collection goals, the trustees will encourage library staff to maintain a balanced collection of print, audiovisual, electronic, and object materials. These collections will continue to serve the intellectual, recreational, and practical needs of the community, while reflecting the diverse interests and perspectives within our patron base. The trustees will support library staff on their ongoing efforts to regularly evaluate and maintain the library's collection. This process includes removing outdated materials and replacing items as needed. What are some of your goals for the upcoming year? Part 3, build a fiscal year 26 budget that will allow the Veterans Memorial Library to build and maintain its critical services. Maintenance, roof, children's library work from roof leaking, landscaping, teen room walls, bathrooms, sliding main doors to improve access. See our capital budget requests in the past years, and we continue to work with. What is your board? Does your board have a town webpage? If yes, who updates the content? They do have a link, https://www.ventureslibrary.org under one solid line there, and then the director and staff are the ones who update the content. And what else? Is there anything I can do to assist your board in accomplishing its goals? There are a lot of things a liaison can do to assist the boards they represent. Our board really needs a partner. We need someone who cares about advancing lofty and critical goals of Veterans Memorial Library. You can see our goals above. We always welcome assistance with budget, resource, and ideas for growth. Positive dialogue with the library means need, and look forward to advancing these goals with you. From the 2023 Marshfield Annual Town Report, the Veterans Memorial Library provides recreational reading, listening, and viewing materials and programs for all age groups, from the youngest children to the senior citizens. It provides access to resources, sharing networks, the internet, electronic books, and media, interlibrary loans, homebound delivery, and so much more. We're happy to help find you what you're looking for, and we encourage you also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and stay up to date with everything that's happening at the library. And that, like I said, was brought to you by Greg Kai, the chairperson, Wallace Coyle, Greg Guimon, Michelle Noonan, vice chairperson, Dana Forsyth, and Ann Fogg.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So there are a few that we didn't have, but as we go through the months or weeks, we can figure out what we'd like to add.
Yeah, we'll routine the rest of them.
Yep, but that's a good start, so I appreciate your efforts there. So I think that we have, I'm going to scooch ahead a little bit where we have, so I'd like to move forward to item number 12. Greg, are you here as a,
We're item 6.
you're item 6, so let's, before we hit to 12, let's do that, it's a little quick. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and you're here, so let me just. So this is a discussion and vote on appointment to Ventris Memorial Library Board of Trustees, Amanda Davis. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Meet you. Nice to meet you all.
You're getting involved with a great committee, so,
I'm very excited.
yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name's Amanda Davis. I moved to Marshfield back in October of 2022. I grew up in Situate, so familiar with the area. Didn't realize how big Marshfield was until we moved here. And my background is I was an educator for over a decade. I am a children's book author, illustrator, and a mom to an almost 3-year-old. And I was very excited for this opportunity because we visit the library frequently. My daughter loves it, often choosing the library over the playground. And I'm just excited for this opportunity to take part in this position to help the library be the best that it can be for the community and be able to contribute in that way and contribute with my perspective as a mom and a teacher, former teacher, and someone who loves not just children's books, but all books and reading
Yeah.
and literacy.
I see you were, children's book author.
Yes.
Check off the list,
Yeah,
right?
check that off. Yep.
Excellent, excellent. Any questions or comments?
Sure. You check off every box that we're looking for with your background, so we're excited to have you and thank you for stepping up to give back to your town.
Thank you, Stephen.
Eric?
I had the pleasure of talking to Amanda, I don't know, what, 2 months ago maybe?
Yeah.
When they were the committee was in the process of looking for a couple members, so it was a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you well going forward with the board.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm excited.
All right, so I'm going to look for a motion. The board moves to appoint Amanda Davis to the Ventris Memorial Library Board of Trustees. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to appoint Amanda Davis to the Ventris Memorial Library Board of Trustees.
Thank you.
Yay,
And thank you to Greg and the whole board.
Have fun
They've
with
been
it.
We
amazing
told you
already.
we'd be back.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
welcome.
Take
Nice
care.
to meet you all.
Bye-bye. Okay, so let's move forward to item number 12. And when did you? Oh, sure, great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And take a seat and introduce yourself for the record.
Yes. My name is Susan Karen, 205 Riverside Circle, and I'm the chairman of the Marshfield Open Space Committee. So I'm here to discuss the Fairbanks land donation. The Fairbanks, they couldn't be here tonight, they wanted to, but the Open Space Committee has had a long interest in this parcel as part of our larger strategic plan to protect and provide access to land along the North River. So when we learned of the Fairbanks, I was contacted by Roberta Fairbanks to see if we would be interested in the land, and we were very happy to accept that. Their stipulation, however, was that it had to be protected in perpetuity. And so we found a way to do that with Wildlands Trust. They hold the conservation restriction on the abutting John Little's conservation area, and they will amend the CR on the John Little's conservation area at no cost to include the 2.2 acres into the, so we expand the John Little's conservation area, and then they protect that. And so they're doing that at no cost, and those, cost several $1,000s. There's a lot of work in amending a CR. It still has to, a lot of paperwork, and go to the state. So the Fairbanks were happy with that arrangement, and so once the town accepts the deed, they will begin the work. They've already begun the work, actually, on amending the CR. So I've walked the parcel with the Lands Committee before they voted to accept the CR on the land, and it's a beautiful, unspoiled upland forest. So it'll be a nice conservation value. But the most important thing is the strategic value of it. So you see the land, everything on this map that is dark green is town-owned conservation land and land that has existing trails. And so the long range, it's been an over 30-year endeavor by people previous to me and committees going forward to have not only protect all of the land along the North River from Maryland Street to Cornhill Lane, but also provide public access and a walking trail along the river. And we've accomplished most of that. There's only one unprotected parcel left, between Maryland Street and Cornhill Lane. And the trails are still being worked on, but the trails, right now, the one on the upper part, the John Little's Conservation Area, has parking on Union Street and an existing trail that if we were able to acquire this land, if we accept the donation, we can use that, potentially, that gets us one step closer to reaching Cornhill Lane. And our goal was to be able to provide walking all along the river, get to Cornhill Lane, cross the street, and then you could enter the Cornhill Woodlands, which brings you out to Union Street, and then you could cross the street, and then there's 2 other conservation parcels over there. So it would be a really nice, contiguous walking path along the river if we are able to get this. We are 1 parcel short of reaching Cornhill Lane, so you can see to the left and right, there's opportunity there. We've reached out to one of the landowners on the left, it's a vacant lot, and haven't had any success in reaching them. To the right, there's maybe a possibility for an easement, but I don't know that. So the way we do this, we've assembled all these parcels is 1 step at a time. So when there's an opportunity, you take it, and you hope you'll get to the next step. So that's really it in a nutshell. So we're pretty happy about this, and hope that you will be as well.
Well, thank you so much. The process of acquiring property through open space is something that the town's been working on forever and ever, right, Michael? I mean,
Yes.
it's been going on for generations, and you can see now where we have these trails, which we had some, but
Right.
now it's really opening up the public's awareness of the work that's been going on for
Right.
for decades.
Right,
So,
absolutely.
I appreciate it, and I know it's a lot, but when somebody's nice enough to say, something, this property needs to be protected in perpetuity,
Right.
then that's really cool. So I really applaud them
Yeah.
for doing this and adding it to
Right.
the acreage that we have. And
Right.
I'm sure the town will support you on that as well.
Yes.
So anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, open space and recreational trails are neck and neck for who's the most proactive and doing the most work for our town. So, open space and conservation land is why so many people love living in Marshfield and coming to visit. So I think you've been before us at least 3 to 5 times since I've been here with acquiring CR land for the town, which has been great. So you're doing a great job. So thank you, and don't leave.
Okay.
And this is slightly adjacent, but what's great too is the more open space and conservation land we have, that counts towards our GLAM calculation, which is general land area minimum. Lynn knows what that is long before I did.
It wasn't my nails, and the glam's not my thing. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we get to 1.5%, that grants us safe harbor in terms of an unfriendly 40B project. We have a little ways to go. We have about 80 more acres roughly, and that is if the state accepts our calculations, things of that nature, but that's just another added benefit of acquiring more open space and conservation land. So this is very exciting. I think the last time we met, you got a great land bridge to connect 2 different parcels, which was great. So you're just adding more to this beautiful area. So, thank you for all the work you've been doing.
Thank you. Well, we're continuing to try to get more open space because we're well aware of the GLAM calculations and the
We're
need
in
for
safe
that.
harbor now, but
Yeah.
it's only a couple of years. So.
But that's what we do all year long.
Yeah.
We look at land, we talk to landowners, and we keep trying. You're not aware of it until we get to to a purchase and sale, so it takes a while. But
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you, do they approach you more frequently,
Yes.
or do you approach them? Like, which happens more often?
It varies. It varies. People approached us more back in the early 2000s when land values weren't what they are now. It was not a good time for real estate, so we acquired a lot during that period. It's a little bit harder now, and it goes both ways, actually. We have some that we work with that we've reached out to. We have targeted, there's a criteria for what we're looking for. Conservation value, public access, all sorts of things. Water resource protection districts are a high priority for us, the drinking water. So it's a little bit of both, actually. So, but the Fairbanks are members of the North and South River watershed many years. They're very interested in conservation. They're very aware of our strategic plan for the North River. And so they reached out to us, so we were pretty happy about it. And being able to protect it. That was their main, they could have sold this, but they didn't want to, so.
Yeah. I'll thank them. Eric, anything you'd like to add?
On this piece of property that you're looking to acquire, is it landlocked?
It is, yes, it is landlocked.
It is landlocked. And you're talking about the two parcels next to it. Are those, is that been built on them right now?
The one to the left is vacant, and we would like to try to acquire that, but we haven't been successful to date.
How many acres is that?
That would be that would be the ideal piece of land to get, and then you'd be able to walk. Then you'd be on Cornhill Lane. So, but we're going one step at a time.
And what about the one to the right?
That's current. It's partially developed. There's a private landowner there.
Oh, it is partially developed. And then we pull this off the rolls. Do you know what the taxes were on it every year?
Well, I don't know what the taxes were, but it's currently assessed at $42,800, the parcel, owing it because it's landlocked.
Yeah, if you get that and maybe the other parcel, yeah, that'd be nice, without a doubt.
It
So
takes a lot of patience to get these done. Some of
yeah, nothing happens
yeah.
overnight, right?
Yeah,
So
and people
it's-
aren't ready till they're ready. So, but one step closer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you for coming in front of our board and explaining, and we'll be
You're
seeing
welcome.
you soon, I think. So I'd like to make a motion for the board to approve the donation of Peter M. Fairbanks, AKA Peter Fairbanks, and Roberta L. Fairbanks, AKA Roberta Fairbanks, of Marshfield, acting pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 8C, with quitclaim covenants for plus or minus 2.2 acres of land in Marshfield, Plymouth County, Mass., shown as Lot 2 on plan entitled Plan of Land Showing Division of Parcel B17-0401 into lots 1 and 2, 125 Cornhill Lane, Marshfield, Mass. by Stembeck and Taylor, Inc., dated September 15, 2009. The land is being acquired by the town of Marshfield for open space, conservation and/or passive recreational purposes, and shall be under the care and custody of the Marshfield Conservation Commission. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve.
Can I make one comment on the motion? I believe it needs to be deeded to the select board, to the care and custody of the select board.
To the care and custody of the Marshfield Conservation Commission is how it was read.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, that's what you read, and that's what I'm concerned about, that we might need to amend that. If that's, I have to
Well, we
check
can-
with Weldon Stress. There's something about Article 97, that it could invoke Article 97. I remember them telling me that. So, you know what, if there's any issue, I will get back to you. And
Well, we can table our vote and we can withdraw it.
Well, what we can do is you can go home and relax. You don't have to stay here.
Okay.
And you could just call or text Bob because we have plenty of things left to get to. Then we can just circle back if he answers in time and amend the motion.
okay, I do recall that, and I'll go home and check my notes as well. But
Are you looking for just the select board, or are you looking for both parties?
Under the care and custody.
Conservation and the select
I
board?
believe
yeah.
it was supposed to be to the select board. But I just need to verify that in
Well, why
whatever
don't,
way it's.
why don't we
best
suggest
to-
why don't we just take a short recess and let Michael see
Or,
if he can,
I mean,
and then,
it's not an emergency that we do, I mean, they would like to have this done, but if we want to be sure that we get it right, I can find out the answer to that, and then that could be,
Yeah, because nothing can happen unless we sign the document for it, right? So if we just don't sign the document and hold off on it,
Yeah.
get the information, then
so we can leave it as is
okay.
is what I'm hearing, which I'm fine with unless we can get a quick answer on it. Or we hold off till the end.
Yeah, we could just see how the rest of the meeting goes and
Yeah.
circle back. We'll probably have time.
So,
Okay,
what-
you know what,
I'm going to text Bob right now.
yeah. So why don't we move on to our other action items for this evening?
Okay, and you know what, I might have notes here in my
Yeah, you
in my
can,
folder.
You can,
and then I will just, all right?
Enjoy the rest of the meeting.
All right, then.
yeah, I know, it's so much fun. So I didn't take a final vote on that, but we can hold off. I made the motion, it was
Yeah.
seconded, and we didn't take a final vote, so.
Do you want to do 8 next, I think?
Yes, let's do that. So why don't we go to item number 8, is the intermunicipal agreement. And I'd like to welcome you. I'm sorry you seem to be sliding away with our time this evening, but
You
welcome.
guys have a lot on your plate, I gotta tell you. This is,
Welcome,
I
welcome.
admire your tenacity
Is that what you're calling
so
it?
thoroughly when you have so many things to talk about.
I'm just going to share with the public what we're about to do. So this is a discussion and vote to sign an extension of the intermunicipal agreement for cooperative recycling on the South Shore.
Thank you.
And if you could just, when you get over there and seated comfortably, introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, my name's Claire Galkowski, and I'm the Executive Director of the South Shore Recycling Cooperative. We were established in 1998. Marshfield was one of our founding members, and at the time adopted the special legislation that enables us to exist as a separate government entity. They withdrew in 2009 under a previous DPW director, superintendent. And situations have changed, and it's now, the stars have kind of aligned that would make it very beneficial for Marshfield to rejoin our organization. I made a presentation to the Board of Public Works on October 21st, which I gave you the handout that I had given to them, which is just really the specific immediate benefits that I saw for Marshfield to join. Most relevant at the moment is our household hazardous waste program. We run about 12 hazardous waste collections each year in spring and the fall, which are open to members of all our residents of all our member towns. We're currently at 17 member towns, including all of your neighbors and a few deep. And we still have 2 more household hazardous waste events coming up in November. And I know I've gotten a few calls from people who weren't able to get to the one you held in September. We also just signed a contract with Clean Harbors that maintains the current pricing. The other bid that we received was from our current vendor, which you also use, and it was 50% higher than what the rates are right now. The state has not done the contract yet for next year, for next fiscal '26. So we're not sure what the pricing will be on that. So that's why we went out to bid. I didn't want my towns to be budgeting for it and not know what it was going to be. So there's also grant funding that we would enhance your, what they call recycling dividends program money, which is an incentive program that the Mass DEP runs to reward towns for having good elements of their solid waste program that would result in waste prevention and reduction. And Marshfield has an excellent program. It's a model program with the curbside and the recycling and the drop-off, the transfer station. You really do have an excellent program and well-staffed. And we are here to, assist with keeping the program moving forward. I have my ear to the ground on all the local vendors who come and go all the time, new rules and regulations. I do advocacy at the State House and at the Mass DEP. Eat, sleep, and breathe, trash, recycling, waste prevention for 26 years now. So tonight I am asking that since the Board of Public Works has voted to rejoin the South Shore Recycling Cooperative, the next step is to ask for the Select Board to sign the intermunicipal agreement, which all our towns have to sign. We do a new agreement every 5 years. It's basically an intertown contract, I'm sure you know. And I brought 2 copies with me, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at it, or your town council has, I believe.
We have it in our binder,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
Oh, okay, so you don't need the paper copies?
I don't believe.
Okay, so.
Why don't you hand it just to make sure what we have is what you're, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't know, why is this one thicker? We have 2 copies in here. Oh, yes, this is 2 copies. Oh, where'd you-
Yeah, it looks to me to be, this is dated in our binder, 20723, so this is the same. I'll give you that back.
Okay.
Okay? So I'd just like to share for the record the benefits of the membership, which is part of why we are deciding whether or not to go ahead with this. But the South Shore Recycling Cooperative, also another acronym, there's so many acronyms, SSRC is a voluntary association of 17 South Shore towns, as you described. But the materials management is kind of something I want to get out there. So what we're talking about as far as benefits are less trash, right? Higher returns for recyclables, household hazardous waste collection, special events, as you just described. In November, we have a couple more. Compost site management and difficult to manage waste. So the staff, on the difficult to manage waste portion of materials management, staff provides assistance in managing and finding good service providers for everything from mattresses and mercury to propane tanks and paint, electronics, waste, medical sharps, tires, and batteries. So these are all really important parts of how we all live our lives, and we need to. I remember when we were first rolling out the little totes, and now we have so things have changed, obviously, as the years go by, and I'm sure they will change even more going into the future. So I just wanted to add that little bit of what we see as just folks doing our daily routines, and trash day is Thursdays for me, and everybody's calling, did we have trash day? Tomorrow's the election, so there's all this stuff going on. But so I appreciate you coming in front of us. But this agreement is made among the towns of Abington, Braintree, Cohasset, Duxbury, East Bridgewater, Hanover, Hanson, Hingham, Hull, Kingston, Middleborough, Norwell, Pembroke, Plymouth, Rockland, Situate, Weymouth, and Whitman under the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 4A, and other applicable laws. So this is available here for our board members, but it's a pretty standard agreement, and there's an articles of agreement with South Shore Recycling Cooperative, Board of Directors, purpose of the funding. So termination is listed in here. And our board, as you said, Board of Public Works has already met with you, and they voted in favor of it.
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything you'd like to add, Steve?
No, thank you.
Eric, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes. What is your yearly budget?
Roughly $100,000. We're very small. I'm the chief cook and bottle washer. We do have 2 hazardous waste collection staff who work at the events. So we provide 1 to 2 staff people. We try to do 2 at each event to help, check IDs. We're very diligent about making sure that each town pays for its own residents. And working with the vendor to assess the loads. And that takes a bit of practice. I've been away from it for a few years. I did about 250 collections myself before I finally said, I need to hire some staff. And then I came back and helped out at a couple, and I was like, wow, I've been away from this for a while. So it's something that does take a bit of practice, and a town that's running it once a year, you just have to take the vendor's word for what, is this a full load, is this a half load? So I believe we save our towns some money just having a second pair of eyes checking the loads too, because it's very expensive, as I'm sure you know. For someone to bring in 25 gallons or 25 pounds of material costs $56 right now. And the bid that we got from that vendor for next fiscal year was $84 for one car. You know, you want to have people on it that know how to look at the loads and know what's in there, what should be, you know, not accepted, like latex paint's the big one. So we pull it out, or we have the people pull it out, we blast it everywhere, big red letters, no latex paint. They still bring it.
Yeah.
So it's probably more than you wanted to hear, but
Is,
did I answer your question?
The staff, are they part-time?
Yes, they're just occasional staff. They just work the events.
And then the fees, what was it, like just under 5,000, you look at from the town?
Yes, the annual fee is $4,950, of which up to $3,000 can be paid from that grant program I told you about, the recycling dividends program, which the Board of Public Works has a good balance in that line item. And we also help them to get more RDP funding, you know, at least $2,200 up to $6,600 if they work with us, you know, just do a little tweaking here and there, we can get them more points, more money
Well,
on that.
that was the, well, getting back to what you said earlier, you said the DPW has a good balance. So when you say the DPW has a good balance, what do you mean by that?
Well, they get the grant funding every year, the Recycling Dividends Program, which is the incentive program I told you about.
So they get that regardless of being a part of the South Shore?
Yes, they'll just get more with us because, you know, the DEP values access to more hazardous waste programs, so they award more points for residents that have access to more than 6 events a year. So you get 2 extra points, each one worth $1,100 for being a part of our organization. And I also do some other things for other points, like they want you to do outreach to your residents, and they have this list of activities that will meet the criteria. You have to do like 5 or 6 of them. And we do some of those things, like we do run PSAs on WATD every year, and that qualifies for an activity. You know, I publish a newsletter every 6 weeks that has a high circulation, and the DEP considers that towards that point. So, you know, when I do our annual report, the value is well over what the actual cost is to the town monetarily.
Because I'm looking in regards to your benefits of membership, materials management, less trash, disposed trash tonnage in member towns has dropped 40% per household served since 2005, saving $3.5 million a year in disposal costs. So, I mean, how have you dropped your membership towns by 43%? You know, it seems
Well, I don't do it myself, but working with the towns to establish programs and do outreach and other things that help residents to dispose of less through their town program. Pay-as-you-throw is another one that is very helpful, which I think you have limited trash here in Marshfield. In fact, I think you were one of the first towns that brought in the carts and said that's all you can do. You got any more, you got to pay for it. And that's proven to be a very effective tool in reducing waste generation in towns.
So, let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. So when you say dispose trash tonnage, member towns has dropped 43%, you're saying the cause of that is, what was the reason behind it between the
Well,
carts and?
their membership in our organization, I take partial credit as an organization for helping our towns to implement the programs and do the outreach and other things that, providing opportunities for enhanced recycling that that helped to achieve the reductions in waste generation. And that's based on households served also. Because not every house, in some towns, not every household participates in the municipal program. So, especially the transfer station towns. And Marshfield has a great program where you have to file an abatement form and go to a hearing. And I actually encourage my other towns to use that. And that's part of the benefit of the cooperative is I know what all our different towns are doing, and they're all different. We have 18 towns and the 18 different programs, but they learn from each other. And I gather all the data, and, you know, I know what all the towns charge for fees for various services and items, and, you know, what this town collects at their drop-off center. And I share that information. The towns share it among themselves, but I'm able to just access it. I have a big giant spreadsheet, so towns ask me if they're looking at their fees, what are all the other towns around me charging? They don't have to go looking on every town's website and trying to figure out, because I've got all that information at my fingertips.
Maybe I'm missing it here. So when you say the tonnage of membership towns has dropped 40%, 43%. So how is it? How did you drop?
Well, that's just looking, all right, I can't give you that answer specifically. I'm just saying that looking at the tonnage numbers from the first year, whatever it was that I stated, to the current year, that was what happened. The trash dropped, the disposal tonnages dropped that amount. And during those times, the SSRC helped our towns adopt new programs, the carts, the limited trash, the better recycling, the outreach, that I felt had contributed to that drop in tonnage.
So are you saying like more recycling was being done? Would it be safe to say that?
Possibly,
it-
or, you know, there's waste prevention too. Waste prevention's an important tool in the box, is, you know, trying to give people tools to, you know, buy less single-use products and that sort of thing. That's part of our outreach and education, you know, our public service announcements, that sort of thing.
Then your higher returns for recyclables, textiles, paper, some plastic and metals. So how do you get a higher return on those as opposed to Marshfield being on its own?
We do regional bids for some, and we don't always succeed, you know, because the markets are tough right now. But, you know, I'll go out to bid for, you know, electronics, or let's see, last year we did transfer station hauling, construction demolition disposal. We got some very good pricing on that. We looked at source separated recycling. We only got one bid on that, so that it just kind of shows that the market's it's a seller's market. The market is on the vendor's side right now for things like that. But we do go out to bid. I did mattresses a couple of years ago for curbside pickup. We got some good pricing. Every year we do compost site grinding and screening bids. And not only do we get better pricing, but we save your department the trouble of having to go out to bid, which, you know, it is a process.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at the composting, Marshfield does that on its own. They do
Okay.
a pretty good job on it.
Oh, good.
So I imagine that there's other towns that don't do that.
Right, some of them sub it out, or they just rent the equipment, like, for instance, the screening equipment. You know, towns don't own a trommel screener, so you have to rent one. So we put that out to bid, and we use, Lion's Head Organics has consistently given us the best bid. And we know how to evaluate the bid, too. You know, you can't just go on price, but you have to look at what the equipment is. Like, for instance, the efficiency of a trommel screen is directly proportional to its size. So you have to take that into account when you're awarding the bid. So, you know, that's part of the equation for calculating the bid award.
And then special events. So when you're saying special events, is that your standard household hazardous waste day?
Well, those are our regular ones, but for instance, this year, we've done 4 tire collections, free tire events with the Plymouth County that were open to residents of our member towns who lived in Plymouth County. We have 2 towns that live in Norfolk. Go figure. Cohasset. It's like disconnected, but anyway. So we did that, and we're just starting. We just did our first propane tank collection. Some of our town residents don't have access to proper propane tank disposal. So we set up a collection event in conjunction with 2 of our hazardous waste days for that. And now, I'm looking at flares. As things come up, if there's a need is identified, then I can set things up on a regional basis. A couple of years ago, I did mattress curbside pickup events, which ultimately the towns adopted with the vendor that we had awarded it to. And now the vendor is working in a number of those towns at the lower rate that we negotiated.
I mean, I just look at, like, especially the household hazardous waste day, like, when you do that means if you're a member, then the residents from any community part of that, part of the regional program of this can go to those hazardous waste days, right?
Yeah, all residents of all our member towns are allowed to attend all of the collection events, yes.
And do you run it similar times as, like, say, Marshfield does, like a 4-hour window?
They're all 9 to 1, yes.
Yeah, see,
Except for Braintree.
see, my concern is I've been to these hazardous waste days in Marshfield, and just the residents themselves have a hard time being able to drop off the stuff because there's so many people that are participating in it, that if we add others from other communities into this, I think it'll just be a disaster.
I do a registration program, so everyone has to register for our events so we know what to expect. You just, without registration, everyone shows up at 7:30. You start out with a 40-minute line, and you never get through it because people start lining up. So when the pandemic hit, we had to cancel the whole spring season. So except for the very last event, which we had to move to the South Shore Music Circus. And I said, this is going to be absolutely insane. So that's when we started setting up the registration, and it was beautiful because you have people coming, half hour, you assign how many people can come, and then when that fills up, people have to sign up for the next slot. So that's been working really well. Plus, if you're going to have a huge amount, and if it fills up a week before, then I know, we're going to have to get extra. We either have to close down registration, or try to get extra staff so we can handle it. And then, because the last thing you ever want to do with a hazardous waste day is close early, because, it happened once in Plymouth. And they ended up with this huge pile of hazardous waste that people had left because they're like, I packed this stuff, I came all the way down here, and now, so they just left it there, and the town ended up having to pay for it anyway. So, so I've been running these events for 26 years, and I know what works, and, we are able to be better prepared for a big crowd. And for the town of Marshfield, if your residents start going to other collections, then there'll be fewer in-town residents going to your own event. So it kind of offsets, everybody shares the crowds. And at this point, about 40% of our attendees are not from the host town. But that's true on both directions. The people from that host town are going to other events as well.
Okay, can I interrupt? Because this is a lot more than I expected as far as knowledge, and so I appreciate everything that you're saying. Eric, are you questioning the intermunicipal agreement itself, or you
No, I'm just
need more
questioning-
details?
I'm just questioning if Marshfield really belongs in this program. I think it serves its purpose for other communities that may not have all these programs, but I believe Marshfield has all this stuff covered. in my opinion. And that's why I'm just wondering in regards to us being a part of it, to be honest with you. I think the DPW and the Board of Public Works, they do a pretty good job in regards to all the services that are provided in regards to recycling and composting and everything else like that, you know, so and I do have concerns in regards to hazardous waste day, especially if the residents and people in town have to start registering for it ahead of time, and then feel like they're getting shut out and like, I apologize, what was your name again?
Claire Galkowski.
Yeah, thank you, Claire. With people might just leave this stuff anyways, you know, so, I mean, it's, I've seen the lines that we generate just from our own residents, and to add
and I got
anybody
calls.
else
So
in,
I just,
to add anybody else in the way I'm thinking, I think would be more of a negative than a positive to the goal of what they're doing, so.
so their select board, do you know what the vote was on this? I'm sorry,
Board of
on the
Public
Board
Works?
of Public Works?
Oh, it was unanimous.
It's unanimous.
Unanimous vote, so
Yeah.
they felt pretty strongly that this was something that was good for the community. And I can see a couple of sides of this where folks could perhaps drive to Pembroke or Duxbury or
Yep.
to, you know, and so we might not have the lines in giving us another option for dates perhaps for certain things. So if there's 11 events a year, and then you're adding what you said, textiles, and there was another one here. But it seems like it's paying for itself in the actual cost to it, but the,
That we don't know, I don't know about that.
well, okay. So I think that we have a lot of information at this point, and I'm comfortable moving forward.
Well, I got one more
What I
question in
have.
regards to the contract, so.
Okay. Go ahead with the contract.
It says each employee of the member municipalities will continue to be employees of the municipality of origin while working for the SSRC. And it goes on, if an employee gets injured and all that, you know, it'd be the responsibility of the municipality. So do you collect employees from the towns to work?
No, I'm not sure where that came, that's boilerplate from way back when. No, we don't have any employees that are both municipal employees and work for us. I'm the only full-time employee at the SSRC, and the only other staff we have are our two hazardous waste people.
So you don't pluck, because the way it sounds like you have the opportunity, or the right, it looks like, to pluck a municipality employees who work for you.
No. No, I don't, no. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know where to begin on how to do that. I mean, when the towns still run their own hazardous waste events, it's still a town event that the SSRC schedules, negotiates a contract, does the service agreement, does all the preparations for, provides staff, helps with the billing, yada, yada, yada.
So you're a
It's still the
coordinator
I
of that
coordinate it.
event. So
The
that's what-
event is the town's event still.
So our events for the town of Marshfield would be dedicated to certain things on certain dates as for hazardous waste, for
No, it's just,
example,
it's
or-
the same.
It's the
It
same
would be
as
the
it's always
same.
been. Okay.
You'd still run the collection in September,
Yep,
but I help with it.
okay. Can you help?
Yes, Madam Chair, just a
Sure.
couple of things, if I may.
Sure.
If I could address Mr. Kelly, I just wanted to let Mr. Kelly know that Bob Galvin reviewed the contract and it's fine for the board to sign. Second thing, Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
may, I received a call, how this got on the agenda, and I had reached out to you as I got the call from Sean Patterson, Board of Public Works. They're looking at ways, we're getting killed with the cost of recycling, that's what's driving up trash. Anything we can do to educate our residents about how important it is to recycle, when that education on what Claire and her group does, really Claire is the group, what she does to educate people, and I think she touched upon it a little, and that's about, we have to educate people not to buy, you know, people go and they buy like a little, you know, SIM card, and it comes in like a box that's like this big, because recycling, right now, there's very few people that take recycling, so the biggest part of this is to get people through education to think about recycling. That drives down the cost.
The thing about the toxic things, Mr. Kelly's right, people do get turned away. I know DPW just did it. And then the problem, what happens is exactly what Claire said. Everyone's there at 7:30. They started packing up their toxic chemicals, their solvents, all of that stuff. They go down there, that was all the way down to 3A,
Yeah.
the line. By having them scheduled, they have a schedule where people sign. Once we join, in fact, in her email, our residents, if the board votes tonight, they can go to the collection on 11/16 and 11/23. So by joining this, our residents, instead of having only one shot at toxic waste and solvents and things like that, we have as many communities that are in this group now.
And we'll have 6 more events in the spring.
Yeah, so I see that as a benefit. So, all right. Going to move forward?
How long is this contract for?
Let's see, it's 5 years, and it started last year, so what is the term? I can't remember.
What's it gonna be for us?
2028, I think.
Just a
So it was
second.
for fiscal '24 through '28, yes.
So it's 4 year,
Well, it's 3.5 years pretty much now, and they'll get a prorated annual fee
what
for
do
this
you-
year.
so what do you look for, a 5-year contract from everybody?
Every town has to sign the same contract. So you'd be signing on to this mid-contract, mid-term.
But when it's not, on this one, but when it starts over, if we were still part of
Then
it.
you know, the select board here will have to vote in 2028 for 2027, for fiscal '28, to sign the new contract,
And, all right, so if they sign a new one, how long will that be?
5 years.
Yes, I don't think anything should go beyond 3 years, in my opinion. regardless,
Well,
but-
you know, if the town, there's also an out, you know, if, with 6 months' notice, for the following fiscal year, a town can terminate. That's what Marshfield did in 2009.
Yeah, that's why I said in the very beginning, there's a termination clause here. No later than 6 months prior to the date of termination, as you just described. But the effective date of this, Michael, do you see what the effective date is? I'm only seeing.
We're getting in as Claire explained,
Yep.
we're getting in mid-cycle on
So
this.
it originally-
Started in '23.
Yep,
July 1st, 2023.
Yep.
So we're getting in, a year and 5 months off, and she'll, as Claire mentioned, they prorate what we
prorated,
pay.
all right. I mean, I think the coordination of this is something that will benefit, but how do you feel? What do you want to do?
Ready.
You're ready to vote, okay. So let's make a motion. The board moves to vote and sign the intermunicipal agreement for membership in the South Shore Recycling Cooperative through June 30th of 2028. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you very
We
much for your
appreciate
time. and-
your explanation.
Madam Chair, if I may go
Yes.
back, you may have noticed during the deliberation
You were
that
talking,
Sue Karen left, I did find an email from Bob Galvin
okay,
to Gene Guimont, who represents the Fairbanks, saying that the land should be under the care and custody of the Marshfield Conservation Commission. So what I said to Sue we would do, because I have not been able to, this isn't an email, this is an email from Bob.
okay.
So she said, can we just postpone it? And so I told her
We'll
that I would
postpone the
ask the
vote.
board to postpone it to the 18th.
Okay, so we already took a second, so we'll just postpone it and table this. So I'd like to make a motion that we table action number 12 to November 18th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to postpone this item till November 18th.
thank you for checking on that.
Thank you
Mike.
very much.
Bye, Claire, have a nice evening.
Welcome to the SSRC.
Thank you.
Okay, we're all kind of bouncing all over the place this evening, so just let me check where we are. So let's go back to number 5 and then try to stick to it to the end. So number 5 is, just a second, a discussion and vote on annual peddler's license application after the fact, temperance. So Michael, this was a situation where we had the Board of Health and Fire
Yes,
for the
Madam Chair.
propanes? Okay.
Yes, so they had an event coming up. There wasn't time to schedule the selectmen meeting, but the two critical things on a peddler's license in this particular nature, when it's a food truck, first and foremost, that the Board of Health signs off. Second, that the fire department signs off on the propane. They had both of those, so we can approve this after the fact.
Okay, thank you. So this is Robert Tuzik's. This was a food truck, as we just described. And we do have confirmation from the fire department that was signed off by us on the 12th of September, and then we also had the Board of Health as well signed off. So we have that back up. Okay, so as you said, they're all set. All right, any questions or comments?
No.
Any questions or comments?
No?
All right. So this is a motion, I'm asking for a second. The board moves to approve after the fact a peddler's license for Robert Tuzik of Norwell for Temperance, a food truck for hours of operation from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. as needed for events. Applicant is subject to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts motor vehicle laws and the Town of Marshfield zoning bylaws. The Temperance food truck has been approved by the Board of Health, the MFD, and Corey had no issues. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the peddler's license after the fact.
Okay, thank you. So we're moving down to number 7. Discussion and vote on temporary liquor license application, North River Art Society. So this is an event for, the applicant is Maureen Smith, North River Art Society. This is for Friday, November 8th, 2024. The event is 6 to 9, and the location is 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills. Opening preview party for their annual holiday art sale. Wine and malt beverages only. Tips certified. It will be indoors. The police have no concerns. We have the tip certifications. And we also have the certificate of liability naming Town of Marshfield as a certificate holder. Okay. Great American Insurance, just insurance stuff. Okay, that's it. Any questions or comments?
No.
Any questions or comments, Eric?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, let's look for a second. The board moves to approve a temporary indoor wine and malt beverage liquor license for Maureen Smith for the North River Art Society for their opening preview party for the annual holiday art sale at 157 Old Main Street, Marshfield Hills, for Friday, November 8th, 2024, from 6 to 9 p.m., pending sign-off from MPD, copy of the liquor liability insurance naming the Town of Marshfield as additionally insured, and copy of tip certification for all servers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the temporary indoor wine and malt for North River Art Society.
All right. Moving on to number 10, which is a discussion and vote on request for permission to utilize town green for December 1st, 2024 until January 4th, 2024 for the annual Holiday Tree Festival. This is through the Marshfield Real Estate Cooperative. Number 10. So I actually participated in this last year. It was fun. We have the trees out in the front, but I don't know what's going to happen this year. However, I just thought I'd mention that. Marshfield Real Estate Cooperative, MREC, is made up of a group of realtors whose primary business work is in the Marshfield. They gather a few times a year. Every year at Christmas, they host a fundraiser for McKinney-Ventus students experiencing homelessness in this program, and a piece of that is our Community Holiday Lights Contest Tour. Last year, we added a holiday tree event on the town green to kick off the Holiday Lights Contest Tour. The trees were displayed from December 8th through the first week in January. This year, we are hoping to hold the holiday tree event on December 6th, or that week on the 7th or 8th, still coordinating a few pieces. If possible, we'd like the trees to stay up again until the first week in January. The MREC organized the installation of the trees and removal of the trees, and would do the same this year. So these folks, they asked for a donation for the tree, and then the tree is set up, and you go out with your family or your friends or whatever organization you have, and you decorate the tree. So that's what that is. Any questions or comments?
Nothing.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, if anybody can answer this, how come they call it a holiday tree event, not a Christmas tree event, or the holiday lights, not Christmas lights?
I really don't know.
Anybody?
All right.
No.
All right, thanks.
Sorry.
So I'll move forward on requests for a second. The board moves to approve the use of the town green for Sherry Costello on behalf of the Marshfield Real Estate Cooperative for their holiday tree lighting event. The trees will be on display from December 1st, 2024 through January 6th, 2025. The MREC will organize the installation of the trees and the removal. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the town green use by Sherry Costello and the MREC for their holiday tree lighting.
Okay. And moving down to number 11. Discussion and vote on request for permission to hold the third annual OBRVA 2025 kickoff to summer cookout. Okay.
Madam Chair, if
Yes,
I may, while you're going
please.
through there,
Yep, thanks,
Nanette,
appreciate it.
in case people were wondering, Nanette works hard. This is a big event for them in the summer, and they need the board to approve it now so that they can advertise, do their flyers, reach out to the various people that show up and participate. You'll see she's trying to have, she wants to have assorted food trucks, music, car show, children's crafts, vendor tables, etc., all on the Union Chapel lawn in Brant Rock.
Fun. Thank you for sharing my voice. I'm starting to get,
Yep.
my voice is starting to go. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Eric?
I do. Have they had food trucks there before?
I
third
think
year?
they may have had food trucks, a couple last year, and they were still barbecuing. When they originally started, they used to barbecue. The problem is getting people to barbecue, so that's why they're going to the food trucks.
So are we expecting more food trucks to be part of this event, or?
Well, I think we'll
Michael,
probably...
I'm
Oh,
here.
oh,
on
then
Zoom.
that's there. Okay, perfect.
We did not have food trucks last year. The reason we're looking into that, they would obviously be on the town-approved food truck list. Last year, we grilled out the last 2 years, but when we do that, we need a certified food handler. And it's getting harder and harder to get someone on a Saturday to do that. So we were thinking of doing the food truck route this year.
So is it
So
just,
it was,
so is it just gonna be one food truck you're looking at?
no, maybe a few. and they would be on the Union Chapel property. They wouldn't be in the street.
Yeah, that's all I was looking at, was where this truck's gonna be, you know, as long as, it wasn't gonna tie up the streets or be a problem in the area. So it's gonna be right on the property itself, on the green there?
It is. It would be on the chapel lawn, and we would bring them in off of Ashburton Ave.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So that's Annette Paziali.
Yes.
Thank you. And your address for the record, please?
My home address,
And address.
my personal is 72 Island Street.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any further comments?
No, that's it,
Okay.
I just,
So the board moves to approve on behalf of Nanette Paziali of the original Brant Rock Village Association to hold their third annual kickoff to summer cookout on Saturday, June 21st, 2025, with a rain date of Sunday, June 22nd, 2025, from 12 noon to 3 p.m. on the Union Chapel lawn in Brant Rock, with food trucks, music, car show, children's crafts, and vendor tables, pending sign-off from the MPD, MFD, Board of Health, and the Building Department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the third annual cook-off for the original Brant Rock Village Association.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 13 is a discussion and vote on request for permission to accept donation, Marshfield Animal Control. Letter serves as an official request to accept the donation of $300 made by Michelle Tedeschi on 10/21/24. These funds will directly be deposited into our department's donation account and will go directly toward the care of the animals housed at the Marshfield Animal Shelter, cared for by Marshfield Animal Control officers. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments?
I do not, besides saying thank you to the person.
Okay. The board moves to approve a donation on behalf of Officer Alexander Forbes for the Marshfield Animal Control for a donation in the amount of $300 from Michelle Tedeschi. These funds will be deposited into the Animal Control's account and will go directly towards the care of the animals housed at the Marshfield Animal Shelter, cared for by the Marshfield Animal Control officers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the donation.
Okay. Number 14 is a discussion and vote on request for permission to accept 8 donations through the Veterans Services. I'd like to kindly list these out. So we have $200 from Miss Lisa King, $100 from Mr. and Mrs. Rowell, $500 from Pickleball Tournament Fundraiser, $25 from Mr. and Mrs. Carey, $100 from Mr. and Mrs. Collins, $1,920 from Friends of Peter Igo Park, $180 from Friends of Peter Igo Park, $50 from Janice Dayton. Town of Marshfield is requesting permission to accept the donations in the amount of, this is just little letters. Okay. Okay, I'd like to, any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Questions or comments?
Just want to say thank you to all that donated.
Yes, of course. It's a big amount of money here, $3,125. All right, the board moves to approve $3,125 in donations on behalf of the Veterans Services Department from the following individuals and amounts. $200 from Miss Lisa King, $100 from Mr. and Mrs. Rowell, $100 from Mr. and Mrs. Collins, $25 from Mr. and Mrs. Carey, $1,920 from Friends of Peter Igo Park, $180 from Friends of Peter Igo Park, $550 from Pickleball Tournament Fundraiser, $50 from Janice Dayton. The donations will be used to provide assistance for health and welfare, morale, and/or the financial need of our veterans and the dependents. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to accept the generous donations on behalf of the Veteran Services Department.
Excellent, thank you to all those people. Okay. Finally, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from October 7th, 2024, and the minutes from October 21st, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to approve the minutes from October 2nd and October 21st.
Okay. Any final reminders, Michael?
Just
Parade?
remind people about the parade, absolutely.
Yep, parade. It's going to be a little different this year, but it's going to
And
be
tomorrow's
lovely.
election day, people get out and vote.
Get out and vote. And the kids are all at home tomorrow. So
Yes.
get them out too. Just not necessarily up at the high school.
Show them what
If you have to, you can go.
the Republic is all about when we
That's
go to elections.
exactly right. All right, I appreciate all of you. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion been made and duly seconded. Roll call is in order. Ms. Fidler?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Unanimous vote to adjourn the select board meeting for November 4th.